the PPT VBA connection. Or what you probably didn't even know that you didn't know about PowerPoint and assessment. You may say, PowerPoint, I know, but VBA, really? Visual Basic for Applications. If you weren't already aware, some of you will be, I hope. Visual Basic is, of course, a programming language, and it's hiding right there in all of your Windows programs for the past few updates. So I propose, why not use it? What if, through the use of this Visual Basic programming language, within PowerPoint itself, inside the program itself, what if I could use it to create interactive quizzes with PowerPoint? To order, pretty much, and it's a program I already more or less know how to use. So if someone else could help me with the code, what if? What if this was absolutely, as we just said, an everyday program that you already know how to use? Would you use something like that? What if the quizzes would even be self-scoring, with a sort of a printable results page at the end, with the student's name and date and time, along with the score achieved, to sort of let you get an idea of when they did it, in case they maybe want to bring in a piece of paper from home when their older sister or somebody was helping them out, which is not what you really want if this is going to be a real quiz that's going to mean something. What if all I would have to do to create a new quiz would be to type in multiple choice options into the little boxes, like you can put any sort of a little shape there and delete any slides you didn't need. What if the right answer boxes and the wrong answer boxes would just be in relationship to where they were on the slide? Box 1 on the first slide might be right, and box 2 on the second slide might be right, and you would know this, and then when the kid took it, the reason they could still take the quiz would be because the slide order would be randomized by the VBA, the Visual Basic. What if backgrounds could all be instantly, or very nearly instantly, customizable the way you would do any PowerPoint presentation? What if all of those animations and things that you were already used to existed within your quizzes? It's a tool you already know how to use. Is there an advantage in applying it to something else? I think so. What if you really had time to do this and actually still teach? What if? What if somebody in your district was doing this and making ready-made templates, and then all you had to do is plug answers in? This would be my idea. And maybe call them Gitterdoms, or this is the best I could come up with. Maybe standing for, of course, graphic, interactive, testing, reinforcement, and demonstration oriented, and modules. It could be anything. But what if you had something like this, little sort of a blank template that you could work with consistently? The question is, would you use it? It's a good question. Before we go too much further, though, maybe we just need to look at the real possibilities here and where this thing comes from. I'll give you a little detail in the background. I do not know everything. I am by no means a master programmer in Visual Basic, but I want to show you some of the basic possibilities of it. Some of you who are maybe are more advanced programming-wise than I am may be able to do this more quickly, and some of you may decide this is way out of your range, but I want to show you some resources that there are. And here we go. I have some websites that have been helping me play. Once again, I am by no means all the way there. This is how to set up PowerPoint in the Visual Basic editor, so if you had some trouble with that, there is, of course, as we said, a script editor within the very Office programs that you already own, very likely. I would say that PowerPoint's ubiquity makes it something very close already to freeware. And this is just another side of that, how all this stuff's in there. So it's a powerful program, and it's also ostensibly nearly free, and all this comes with it. You didn't even have to pay any extra for this. And here's another site, and this is PowerPoint for Educators, how to make multiple choice quizzes via VBA. That seems handy, doesn't it? This is actually just is a sort of an article that tells you how, and talks about how it gets you some of the code that you'll need to plug in. However, I would say this is not even the best resource. You get some resources that are kind of like this. They actually give you examples by chapter, and this guy's trying to sell a book, and I haven't bought his book yet. Maybe I feel kind of bad about that. However, he also he gives you actual quizzes, real examples that are sort of like templates, and then you can just add and subtract. And he's already typed all the VBA in, and I intend to use some of his stuff to develop mine if I can. And he has some explanations of what all this stuff is, on his website. It's a worthy website, certainly. I would recommend visiting him, truly. Anyway, but you go in here and you can pick the chapter in his book that things are from, whatever, and he'll have a description of what it is. The example I'm going to show you, I believe, is one of these. Sample multiple choice quiz that allows questions to be answered over and over again. They have all sorts of different things here, like this, that you can change back and forth from. I've already downloaded some of his examples, and I'm going to use this one just for an illustration. When you open up one of these quizzes, the first thing you really got to handle this security warning. You got to allow macros to work. Macros being computer ease, I suppose, for code scripts that are within here. And you're going to want to, of course, say enable this content. That's what we want. And if you hit it from the beginning, this is what this thing would look like. I'm just showing you some of the potential. This is just a little idea that I found online. This is just like any of us. We're looking for resources. And you would click on what is your name. Yay. And that would give a kid a chance to, instead of signing in securely, that would just give a chance for their name to appear on their test paper, which sort of makes it a little more certain if they're working on a computer in your room, sitting there with the PowerPoint open. You do want to know it was them working. You can watch them to make sure they're not cheating, but this helps you to keep the paper straight on your desk. Who was the first president of the United States? I guess I'll answer correctly this time. Now, then it moved immediately to the next question. Now, some of these tests have an option where it will it will force a kid to continue in over and over and over again, even if they get a wrong answer. This one's not set up that way. I can get this answer wrong, and it'll let me continue, other than warning me to do better next time, DB. What is the capital of Maryland? I guess I'm gonna do this one wrong. Do better next time, DB. And then I'm asking the question, how did I do? Clearly, there are my answers, the ones I got, and it says you got 1 out of 3. It doesn't indicate, this one doesn't indicate right or wrong in particular, as opposed to which one is which. It doesn't tell you what the right answers are. This could be discussed with the kid, but it does tell you how the child answered. That's good. And you could, of course, hit the print results button if that was what you wanted to do. Back out on the PowerPoint side itself, I thought there would be at least one more important thing I probably should mention about this process. The code actually lives sort of over here. You have the developer tab. This is relatively new. When you hit view code, this is the actual VBA. If everything works the way we want it to work, we don't have to type any of this stuff. We hope. Anyway, but I just thought I would show you that before I left this whole deal. Once again, these are some pretty fairly bare-bone type slides. As you can see, these would be decorated by you or by me. and we could get whatever result we wanted. I hope you can see the potential for this, though, as an assessment tool to in many ways. Obviously, as a formative assessment, kids could take these over and over again in your class as practice, and then they would simply come up and take it at the end as the actual assessment, or they could just keep retaking it until they got a passing score. If you made enough slides and you only allowed a child to, if you had 100 slides or 60 slides and you only allowed a child to take 10 of them at a time, then you would be pretty fairly well protected. When they came up randomly, the kid wouldn't be taking exactly the same questions, and they would still be able to practice with it. It would be a good tool. You could put it up on a website to be downloadable. There really aren't any security concerns with this, because if you had 100 slides and they only got to take 10 of them, that's a difficult thing to memorize. I mean, it's possible, but you could take security precautions and whatever, but I'm not sure there would be a big security issue. Also, how it tracks student progress. This is something your grades would do. You could allow it day by day to be scored, and it would track their progress up into the final test. And you could give a different kind of test if you wanted to simply use this for drill. The cost, as I said earlier, the sheer ubiquity of the Office, suite from Microsoft makes it very nearly free to me, because of course, I have all of that on all of the computers at school, so it's not there's no cost to me, nothing additional, as with some of these programs which you're actually going to have to purchase. So you're looking at it, the benefits and the disadvantages. It could be a little over your head initially if you felt that way, but I think it's a skill like any you could learn. That could be a disadvantage. On the other side, it is more or less free to us, and it's taking skills that you may already have with PowerPoint and letting someone else fill the VBA and the code, and then going somewhere with something you're already familiar with, as opposed to buying some expensive testing program online and having to learn it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little thing about Gitterdoms. It's one of my current obsessions, and I'm seriously looking into playing with this, and looking forward to playing with this over the coming months myself.